All right. Is that lighting bad? That's good. All right. I'm going to be reviewing The Assistant. The starring actress is Julia Garner. I first saw her in the Netflix series Ozark. Um, of course, I had to Google her and Google her and see first and foremost how old she was. Secondly, what else? What else has she been in? Apparently, she's not apparently, but it looks like she's been in quite a few semi to popular ongoing shows. She does a lot of TV work. Um, not too much on the movies, but I think the movies that I did see were pretty much along the same lines as the assistant. It's a limited release movie, um, so it's not in the bigger chains. Um, Now, I go into these movies with a lot of optimism because it may be bad, or I may be watching uh, like a cult classic being born. Um, I like the movie, but I'm going to try to give you an overview of it. Now, I liked it, but being 100% honest, I wouldn't watch it again. There's just not enough. There's just not enough. There's just not enough moving parts to make it interesting enough to watch again. I say that, and you know what? I might wind up watching it again someday, but as of right now, it's not on my rewatch list. Um, it follows around a young girl trying to get her way into the movie business. She at some point in the movie tells the audience that she wants to be a producer, and she's working as a non paid intern right now. And you could look at it from the perspective that this is a deep a deeper dive into the dark side of the industry, but coming from the perspective of it's like a Weinstein type of guy. Now, coming from his perspective, I think the strongest man would have a hard time not taking advantage of that position. Does that make it right? No, not even. No, it doesn't make it right. But even in this movie, they don't paint him as a horrible person. They do this. I saw it in Dunkirk. Um, I can't recall any other films that I've seen it in. I'm not saying that these are the only two films that use it, but they do this thing where they don't depict the uh, the bad guy. Like you never see him. You see from the neck down. You see the suit. You hear the voice. You see the emails that are being sent back and forth between him and the assistant and the other assistants. Like, and you see his family. You never see him. So I think it's an interesting tactic in order to, yeah, yeah. I think it's an interesting tactic in order to try and, what is the word I'm looking for? It's a tactic, and I feel like it's a tactic in order to not sway your opinion, not put a face to to uh, to this evil, not put a face to it. So you can't build emotions based on what you're looking at. You have to build emotions. Your emotions are allowed to cultivate um, based on behaviors and words, basically, which I think creates a much stronger hate, in my opinion, which I think is good because you shouldn't like that character because he's abusing his power and all he's doing is he's taking advantage of gullible people, and not even him. It also takes a look at the structure of takes a look at the structure takes a look at the structure of the assistants, people over them, all the way up to him, which is he's basically running what uh, two two locations, one in America and one in oh, he's probably not running two, but they make reference to another location that does the exact same thing they do. So I'm I think I've said this before. Um, I'm not movie crazy. I enjoy watching them as a consumer, but as far as me wanting to get into business and writing a teleplay or a screenplay or being a producer, or even being a whatever something on a movie set, I'm not interested in that. I purely want to be entertained by it, and this is an outlet for me to voice my disapproval and approval as a consumer. Um, what was that? I think it's good because it's I can't say this enough. It's great not to step out of the world of comic books for a little while and the cliche love stories and the buddy movies, and not to say that sometimes those can't be done great and can't be entertaining, but who wants to eat their favorite food all the time if it's not actually complete? You probably will want to eat your favorite food every day, all day, three times. If you eat three meals, you probably will want to eat your favorite meal all the time. But eventually, your body's going to start tearing down because you're not getting sufficient nutrients. You need same thing when you're saving for your retirement. You have to have uh, diversification. You can't just sit there and continue to digest the same thing over and over again. It's great to step out, and this is where this movie wins because it's something completely different, off the wall, something you would never expect to be made. Now, um, I think the reason that this movie gets the is getting the I guess is getting the type of response it's getting. Not that I know the response is getting, is because there's no conclusion at the end. It doesn't go anywhere. But I think if you take that away from this movie, then it would cease to be this movie. That's what makes this movie. The fact that you follow this woman is it basically I think it only follows her through a day, I feel like. Or maybe it was two. It doesn't follow her through more than a day or two uh, in her work. I mean, they're gonna do a great job of giving you everything. You get a chance to see what her home life is like. You get a chance to see what her work life is like, of course, and you get a chance to see uh, what her background is as far as her parents is concerned. You don't get to see, but you get to hear. So it gives you a full scope of this character. They do a great job of building this character up. And do, uh, 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 although they don't give enough information on the other characters that you see throughout the film, you have enough to understand where they're coming from. It's not like, and I guess it's being sold as where she has a major dilemma that she has to get over. There's no dilemma. She's just sitting there. She's basically a naive girl who's lost. She has a goal in mind, something that she's worked towards, and now she's in the workforce, working for free, but she feels like she's working towards that goal, and and eh, that's one thing I can say. I've been there as far as a work environment where everything pretty much they say the I'm going to use a kiddie word, the poop always goes downhill, and that's so true even in a blue collar situation, with this being a white collar situation, of course. Um, like, just to start at your boss's boss gets something from up top, comes down to him, which is your boss, and then your boss comes down on you. And if you're the bottom of the totem pole, you get it all. But in reality, you're holding up the whole structure. You could say that to yourself to try and make it through, but at a certain point, my dog's going crazy. Hey, come back over here. Come here. Hey, about to jump out the window. But yeah, at a certain point, you have to. I had to learn this the hard way. At a certain point, you have to stand up for yourself. But just don't do it too late because you can try and push back and nothing will happen. You'll push back, you'll remain in the same spot, and you'll continue to get run over until you leave. Uh, that's where it got me. That's where it wins for me because I could see I could see that I've lived that, so it made me feel more in tune with that character. I haven't necessarily witnessed anything like she's like this character's witnessed, and I mean she had a choice to make. Do you say something? I mean, basically she did say something, and she got questioned, built up a little bit, and then tore back down, and then like kind of reconfigured, but not built up, not built back up, but reconfigured. So it wins at that. But a second time watching it, I don't think there's anything there for me to watch that. I really came for her. There's no other notable actors or actresses in this movie. I feel like it's a lot of fresh faces. Well, not fresh faces, but faces I haven't seen before. When I say it doesn't, it only loses. It wins on most fields. It only loses the fact that there's no conclusion. I feel like there's no conclusion. But other than that, it's an interesting watch. I have another video tomorrow. I'm gonna put a spotlight on another movie. Well, I'm watching it right now. I'm rewatching the movie right now, so I can do a better review. Because I feel like my last two spotlights have been kind of like all off memory, which is like it's doing the movies an injustice, really. But tomorrow, I'm gonna try to take notes too. Hopefully, it'll be a lot better.